Hello everybody, it's Mr. Matthew Does Coding, and welcome back to the Valley Devlog. This is episode 6, and I have tons of wonderful features lined up for you today. So, without further ado, let's see everything that's new in this update. Starting with the most obvious change, the river has changed course and the map has been expanded. Instead of having a small pond like before, the river now continues going straight and ending at a small lake in this kind of miniature version of the larger area, except it's mostly taken up by this pond. And it also creates this really gorgeous valley in between. And in later updates, this pond area will be a wonderful spot to go fishing, because that is one of the things that I do want to add eventually. Next is food. The player now has a health and a hunger bar attached to them, but right now only the hunger bar does anything. The health bar doesn't have any functionality right now. But the lower your hunger gets, the slower you'll walk. So if you just don't eat, it'll become a really annoying inconvenience to get around the map, especially since the map is so big. But you can replenish your hunger bar with all the different types of crops that are present in the game right now, like grapes, tomatoes, and everything else. And this is actually a good segue into the next feature, which is item models. Every single item in the game now has its own unique model that'll be present in the player's hand and when it's dropped on the ground. So from now on, when I present a new item in the game, I'll also present it with its item model. Now that we're on the topic of food and more broadly crops, let's talk about the farming system, which has a new feature attached to it called fertility. Now, fertility is a little bit complicated, but all of the information, or most of the information that I'm going to give right now, is going to be accessible in-game some way by the end of development. How that's going to happen, I have an idea in my head right now that I don't want to spoil, but I don't know if that'll change in the future. But here's the rundown. Farmland squares can have a fertility level between 1 and 8, with 1 being the worst and 8 being the best, and each is indicated with its own unique soil color. Now, the fertility of the soil will determine how long crops take to grow on it, and for those interested, these are the equations used to determine the minimum and the maximum time it could take for the crop to grow. It's like the interval of time that the game can get. 960 and 1140 are the minimum and maximum seconds for a fertility of 1, and 720 over 7 is the amount those intervals decrease as your fertility increases. Now, the fertility will decrease if you plant the same crop on the same square more than twice. So this is kind of mimicking crop rotation in real life. Now, since 5 is the default fertility, if it's below that, as long as you practice crop rotation after it's gone lower than 5, it'll slowly come back up to 5 eventually. But you might be asking, how do you get a fertility that's above 5? And that actually has to do with 3 new crops. I put crops in air quotes because I don't know if you can really call these crops, but there's 3 different types of grasses in the game now that you can collect, and that's Bahia grass, alfalfa, and teff grass. Now, these are naturally spawning grasses that can help you increase the fertility of bad soil up faster, or you can plant it on regular healthy soil to make it even more fertile. Now, their bonus cannot be repeated back to back, which is to say that you can't just plant some grass, harvest it, and then plant it again, and then plant it again until you're all the way at max fertility. It doesn't work like that. It only works once, and then you have to plant something else, and then you can come back and do it again. So, again, it's kind of like working with crop rotation. And, again, all the information about the fertility and the grass will all be accessible by in-game means by the end of development. Now, before I talk about the biggest feature of this update, we gotta go through a list of a couple minor changes and features. A punch animation has been added for trees. Farmland is attached to data saves, so when you leave and join back, your crops will still be there. The seed selector texture has been updated to match the current in-game item textures. Multi-harvest crops have had their regrowth chance dropped from 1 in 2 to a 1 in 3 chance. The terrain under the map has been cleaned up for performance reasons. Wild crops now spawn with 8 of each crop instead of 2, so you can get off your feet faster at the beginning of the game. And the inventory on the back end has been overhauled again, to make moving items around a lot smoother. With all that out of the way, the biggest feature of this update is building. Building can be done through this menu on the left side of the screen, which will open up this window. The slots will show you all the items you have in your inventory that you can build with, and the 3 buttons at the bottom are to change the grid size, the degree of rotation, which you can do with the R key, and to switch from build mode to delete mode. To build, you simply have to click on the item that you want to build with and place it down with left click. There is a maximum distance that you can place something from, and that's indicated in orange. So if the item kind of hologram that you have when you're looking to place something down is green, it means it's in a good spot. If it's orange, it means it's too far away. And if it's red, it means that you're placing it in an invalid location. The one building item that has been added to this update is the trellis. It can be placed on farmland and used to grow vine variants of multi-harvest crops. It also has its own unique seed selector menu and will only show you multi-harvest crops along with grass, because grass is a unique category that doesn't fit with the others. The 2 vine crops that have been added so far are the grapevine and the strawberry vine. This is what they look like in all their different stages, and in the future, I plan on also expanding this feature to the asparagus and the watermelons and any other multi-harvest crops that I might have in the future. And that's about it for this episode of the Valley Devlog. As for what I'd like to do in next episode, I want to complete some things that didn't make it into this episode, because there was actually a lot more that I wanted to do for this episode. Like, I had chests and a crop stand in the market to start some more economy kind of stuff going, planned for this episode, but I just didn't end up getting to it because this episode is like 4 months overdue. I'd also like to add new crops, expand more on the fertility system, particularly with things that could happen with soil that's at its lowest fertility, but I won't spoil too much. And maybe even revisit some of the tools that I made for the tool stand all the way back in episode 2. But other than that, that's all I've got for today. If you'd like to get live updates about this game before these episodes even come out, you can join the Discord server that I'll have linked in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.